Good morning, guys. Right, let's get into it. So we're on the daily time frame for today. Yesterday played out as expected. So the aggressive buyers did get rewarded from where we started the video. They were getting rewarded for their efforts, and we pushed back up into the daily high before we reverted back to the VWAP first standard deviation. We'll be able to see that when we look at the order flow chart. But yeah, as expected, we came back and we retested this zone here at 93.65, just coming and crossing our low volume node. And immediately now pushing back to the upside as well, really showing signs of strength. We were potentially looking even for a retest down to 89,200 here, but things are looking extremely bullish, at least in the short term. And something that I really want to kind of point out, which has been great, is look at on the 4 hour here. So this was 4 in the morning now. Okay, this is, you can see what time it is here, standard time 12. Look where our low volume node was. So I've changed these lines to gray instead of bright white because I realized that they're going to flashbang you on YouTube. But look exactly where we touched. So we set this low volume node here at 92,315 where we said we'd look to retest in this zone. Look, we clipped it. 4 p.m., 4 a.m. this morning. We bounced perfectly off that line. Look, even zoom in, bouncing perfectly off that line, retesting the zone and coming back now. And, you know, again, just we bounce between the zones. That's what we do. We tested perfectly on the bottom 3 times on the 4 hour chart. The 5th time rejected. But likewise, the 4 hour buy side imbalance below is held here. So given the fact we're in this range, the chart is still pretty much looking the same as yesterday. We didn't come back to fill any of these imbalances down here just yet. They're obviously still important because we are on the high time frame here, so we're not expecting, of course, all of this to happen in 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, you know, even a week. We just look, no one has a crystal ball, but what we look to do is, if we go to the upside, this is probably what's going to happen. If we go to the downside, this is the highest probability moves, and we've got this mapped out now. But as we didn't come back to test any of these lower buy side imbalances, and we've pushed to the upside, and not only that, but we've created this new 4 hour buy side imbalance here. It's really suggesting to us that at least in the short term, we want to push higher and try and break this 92 zone. Again, the real key for us, if we just take another little zoom out, is coming and breaking this 95 zone here, really starting to close our head above this, because we have to the contrary here, that if we start hitting our head, you know, 1, twice, 3rd, 4th time on this and start to reject, there is a lot of confluence to suggest then that we'll look to come and retest lower, grab more liquidity before trying to go, you know, to the upside. Again, for us, does it matter that much? No, because we're just going to trade what the market gives us every day. If it goes up, we're going to make money. If it goes down, we're going to make money, but it's just something to be aware of. As we mentioned about this low volume node here that we've tested perfectly, we've come back again to create this new 4 hour buy side imbalance with the low volume node here at around 91,700. So in the short term, at least for trading today, we're looking for a trade within this range. Okay, we're looking for, do we come back and sweep this zone? Probably yes. And if we do aggressive buyers step in here to push us up again? Then, of course, if they do push us up again, we're looking, can we break through this low volume node again and through this zone? If we do, we'll probably most likely want to come back and retest this high here, right? And push up in towards this zone. Okay, it's straightforward, guys. This is the plan. This is what we're looking for. So your play here should be, let's say, you know, we do hypotheticals because that's what we're talking about now. Again, no one's got a crystal ball. We come to bounce here. We look to go up. We retest this. We create a higher low, and we look to push up. You'd want to be taking profits here. You'd want to be taking profits here. You'd want to be exiting most of your position. I've just right-clicked that and knocked it off around this low volume node to see what happens. We may continue to rip right through it, but what is the highest probability outcome? Highest probability outcome is that we find some resistance here. So if you're in here, especially if you're on something like 10, 20, whatever X leverage you're on, in a nice position, you're going to be up fantastic there. So, you know, we take the profit and we see where it goes. At the end of the day, though, it comes down to reading the order flow. And, you know, in that position where we're pushing to the upside, our buyers getting rewarded for their efforts. If they are, we'll continue to go higher. If they're not, the chances are we'll look to revert back. And even then we can look to enter some shorts potentially from this zone. But that's to the upside. That's asking a lot of today. You know, that's pushing to the upside. Likewise, if we start to come up here and we start to reject and come down and we don't really get buyers stepping in here, well, that's okay, because where's the next zone that we're going to look to come to? We're going to look to come to the very top of this green zone here at 9,600, probably filling the low volume node again at 9,400. Again, it's been filled in already yesterday, but we know that this is our zone where lots of buyers wanted to step in. If we take a look here, we can see on the candle wicks, if we're just looking at the price action, we know there's buyers there. We're going to look to hold that area as our support. If we start chopping around doing this isn't going to want to hold. Where are we going to go next, guys? Probably here to 89, 200, 300 zone, and try and grab this. And it's simple as that, you know. It's simple as that with the plays that we do. We're just looking for areas of liquidity, areas where will be the highest probability zones that we're trading to, whether that's to the upside or whether that's to the downside, and then we can make a play from there. Again, either going long or going short. And again, just to reiterate, before we start seeing explosions, if we do start getting above this 95, you might start seeing some real bidders coming up here. You know, not just as we clip it, but if we start closing above and start pushing higher above this and making a real breakout, I think we'll see a lot of volume and a lot of liquidity come in the market to really try to send us higher. You know, but until then, we can just expect that we're going to be ranging into this zone and again, playing the highest probability outcome. Because if we do keep rejecting from this area multiple times, like I say, just to reinforce that, the higher the chance again that we'll come to retest these lower zones before going higher. And again, this is where you'll get the FUD. This is what I'm trying to, you know, push to you every day, of giving you the perspective of somebody that's not trying to, you know, rage bait or not trying to engagement farm. That if we do start seeing, say we do see a scenario where we see this rejection here and we start coming all the way down to 86, people start saying it's a scam, you know, CZ's selling, Binance is scamming us, it's over, da 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 da. When in reality, we'll still be on the higher time frame, you know, putting in a higher low if we're down here and holding the support, you know, just about, and we're holding this, you know, general uptrend still. Yeah, everybody will be telling you it's over. People will probably start slamming shorts at the bottom saying we're going to 50K. And, you know, whether we do go lower or not, you know, time will tell. But that's the narrative most people will have in their head. And that's why most people get caught out and most people lose trading. Okay, so now we've revised the higher time frame picture on TradingView. Let's jump into order flow and look at things on the lower time frames. So here we're on the 3-minute chart looking at the order flow. We can see here that we're holding the current session VWAP. This is what's really interesting to me here though, is look at all this negative selling delta. This is cumulatively building up, meaning that aggressive sellers are getting, you know, bigger and bigger. They're getting stronger and stronger as this time period goes off. And then look what's happened here. We've seen all of this absorption on this candle. Again, this is a 3-minute candle. We saw all of this absorption, some sellers trapped here. And all of this bought up and we're now looking to retest. And it's been right off this VWAP. And then look what's happened here. We've come back down. We've wicked under and these people have been absorbed again a second time, been absorbed a third time. So what is this telling us, guys? If all of this negative delta here has been absorbed massively on that candle, it's telling you that in this zone here, which I'll stretch across, there's big, big, big buying demand, okay? One big player, two big player, whoever knows, however many people it is, but there's big demand here for people to want to hold this price up. So as we can expect here, we've come back down to the VWAP and people have bought it back up. And we're currently now seeing this push back into the daily value area high. This is why the lower time frame is so important to look at once you've got the context of the higher time frame, because we've got our levels, which I'll go back to in a second, which we can look at, where if we're going, you know, we're looking to trade from zone to zone to keep it stupid simple, from the green zones to the red zones or the red zones to the green zones. That's our general thesis. But what we're actually looking at here on the lower time frame is specifically what's going on in the detail. And right now we can see that there's big, big buyers that are wanting to buy this up, are wanting to support the price at this level at the VWAP. So what do we want to see? We want to see these buyers getting rewarded for their efforts, which they currently are, okay? And if we start seeing price coming back under here, retesting, coming back up, retesting its head off the VWAP and then rejecting again, you can start seeing that these big players here are not getting rewarded for their efforts, or they're either not getting rewarded or they're currently out, they're already out of the market and have unwound their positions. So what might that suggest to you? It might suggest to you, I would think, that there's a high probability that we want to retest lower because big players have got out of the market, or big players are now offside in their positions. And what do they need to do? They're not going to sit and hold ridiculous drawdown. They're going to unwind their positions and they're going to get out. And what is that going to force them to do? Force them to push the price down by closing out those positions. Where would you look for us to hold support then? Weekly VWAP. We've got the daily point of control. This is where most of the volume went on. I'd really be looking then to see somewhere in between these levels more buyers step in, see if they get rewarded, see if they get held. And this is the simple thesis. We wait to see how things play out, and we just want to join the side that's winning. As of now, things look good, but we've got the playbook going into the New York Open, which will, be the defining factor for how today's session is going to go, and we can see where liquidity sweeps and get a better narrative on which direction we're going to continue in, whether that's towards the upside or whether we're going to sweep lower for more buyers. And I'll just jump back to TradingView now to show you the levels again, just for those that might not have tuned into yesterday's video, and again to give you time here to make some notes and keep track of these key levels. If we do sweep lower for more liquidity, here's the first zones you want to look at. 91,700, you want to see this hold here for us to continue higher. If we do drop down, the top of the range here is at 90,650, call it, with the low volume node at 93,840. Again, the next zone down, 89,200. Failing that, 88,175. Failing that, 87,450. And then our zone right at the bottom, which again, I don't think you'll see today or tomorrow, but who knows? This is going to be our, final line in the sand for this, uptrend we've had since since November to maintain intact. It is going to be 86,240. One last thing I want to touch on before we finish the video to keep your eye on for trading today is XMR. I think there's a lot of opportunities here, or there has been this week. This thing is just up only. A lot of the Zcash liquidity is pouring in here off the privacy coin Meta. Really, we keep it simple. The 30 IQ and the 300 IQ take is the same. Don't fade the trend. We are seeing a bit of a retracement here on the, from the daily candle. But yeah, don't fade the crime. I wouldn't be looking for shorts, even though, again, that would be the obvious answer when we're completely overextended like this. But really, I'm looking for trades back into this zone here to maybe look for an entry. There's a couple of low volume nodes, but it's been, this has been pumping so hard that you could argue there's one here around 590. Again, you're probably going to even see a push off the top of this zone at 621, but anywhere here between 621 and 590, where we're seeing big buyers coming in, this will be a great place for, looking for an entry. However, though, what goes up must come down, and if we just keep our sensible hat on for a second and keep things realistic, I'm always a big believer in these God candle back tests at some point. Whether that's the end of this week, whether it's next week, whenever that might be, which typically come down here. Now there is another low volume node at around 491. So in the medium term, if the narrative stays up, if the crime continues, this might be a medium to long term great entry here to look for. Resuming that up only. But again, with these things, it's all about narrative. It's all about where the attention is, and XMR's got it right now. And the privacy crime is criming, and I'm not about to get mauled trying to galaxy brain a crime play. And that's everything for today, guys. The last thing I will say is, as you can see here, I've got the white chart and I've got the black chart. Now, I always use the white charts as normal. I find it easy to see, but I know you guys are all BBC lovers. You love the big black charts. So yeah, let me know in the comments section what you prefer. I know sometimes on YouTube videos, the black background is easier on the eyes. Just for a lot of the colors I use here, as you can see, it tends to stand out a little bit better on the white, and I find it a little bit easier to see. But at the end of the day, I'm making these videos for you guys, so I'd love if you would let me know in the comments what you prefer. But yeah, all that's left to say then is good luck, have fun, and I'll see you in the books.